super warm, but it's not cold. Right, but Allianz Field is an outdoor field, so this will be fun. I'm also pretty sure it's against like Honduras or something like that, so.
Oh man, they're gonna be in for a weather shock.
Yeah.
I hope there's like 80s down there.
Yeah.
How do I open these things in multiple tabs? Because I need to have the presentation open, but I also need to have where?
Three dots.
Hello.
And open browser.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Are you feeling better?
I am, a little bit.
Recommendations are, oh, it's actually this without the,
Yeah.
this, without the student government recommended folder.
Yep.
I call this meeting into order at 4:03 p.m. All right, our first order of business is roll call. Senator Bassnett. Here. Senator Russler. Senator Russler. I see her over Zoom. Senator Russler, you're muted. Senator Hashimoto. Senator Hashimoto. See him over Zoom. Senator Chimizier. Senator Chimizier. Senator Carlson. Senator Carlson. Senator Roberts. Senator Roberts. Senator D. Schaefer. Here. Senator Hawk. Here. Senator Hansen.
Here.
Senator Puruchuri. Senator Puruchuri. Are we able to hear people over Zoom?
Yes.
Because I see.
Can you mute your microphone on your laptop?
I muted. Senator Puruchuri. Yeah, but we can. All right, awesome. Senator Osmond. Senator Osmond.
I'm here.
Senator Darlington.
Here.
Senator Saha.
Here.
Senator Spears.
Here.
Senator Wynn. Senator Uzefa. Senator Uzefa. Senator Wing.
Here.
Senator Pina.
Here.
Senator Nowak.
Howdy.
Senator Flynn.
Here.
Senator Hopwood. Here. Senator Hussein. President Stiff. Here. Vice President Somerso. Here. And Speaker Kwan. All right. Moving on to our next order of business, which is presentations. I have John.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Emmy and I are going to be talking today about some very, very important stuff that's going to hopefully prep you for the next, let's say month and a half as you get ready to embark upon what's the busiest time of the year for student government and one of the most impactful times of the year for student government. And that has to do with the budget season. Student government makes a lot of recommendations and a lot of decisions regarding funding for departments and organizations throughout the course of the year. And we're going to cover stuff today that's kind of going to be like a crash course, really. This is going to be like drinking from a fire hydrant, okay? The stuff we're going to cover today is a lot of information. And so one of the things that I'm going to try to tell you is to lean on those who've been through this before. Okay, don't be afraid if you're first time through this to speak with your executive leadership or senators who've been through a budget cycle before and who have been a part of this meeting and know kind of what the conversations go like. But it's going to be a busy, like I said, really month and a half, 2 months in terms of budgets for y'all. So it's a lot of information. Don't be afraid to ask questions of us or of experienced leaders who've been through it before. So we're going to blow through this pretty quickly, but there is a ton of stuff that's going to be key for you. I'm going to log back in here. Log me out. Okay, there we go. So he's going to plug me back in. So hopefully you can see this. You're not going to get like the professional presentation view. You're going to actually get my open PowerPoint slides because I need to go between tabs to show you different stuff that we're going to go through during this presentation. So I'm going to kick it off, and Emmy will be helping present as well. So first things first, I have uploaded all of these documents to a folder in Teams that's part of the student government teams. The folder is called Senate. It's a private folder that if you're not already a member of, which most of you aren't, I have asked Speaker Khan to make sure that you all are added to it so that you have access to this information. So one of the first things that you're going to see is that we have a timeline set for budgets and elections for the year. And so what has happened basically is all of the student activity fee funded departments, we call that SAF, all of those departments have submitted their requests for next year and are in the process of presenting. The first group to present presented last week. They presented on Friday, and so the SAT committee is meeting every Friday right now through middle February to hear these requests from groups. So that's kind of where we are in the process. In the next few weeks, what you're going to see is the first one that's really going to be visible to all of you is coming up on February 23rd, when two of the fee-funded areas are going to present their requests to you. There are several fee-funded areas. There's the student activity fee, there's the athletics fee, there's the student health fee, there's the technology fee, and there's the student union fee. Those are the main areas that put forward annual requests and that student government makes recommendations on. On Wednesday, February 23rd at this meeting, student health, let's see, who's actually presenting that day? Athletics is presenting that day, and I believe it's student health. I can't remember which. We haven't updated since that was assigned, but two of the areas will be presenting. And then on March 16th, the CSU will be presenting, and I believe technology, ITS, will be presenting. I think that's the date. They've been reminded of it, but I believe those are the two that are presenting. Between those, the Student Allocations Committee is going to present their recommendations for the student activity fee. Okay, they're going to present that with time for you to actually think about it, to ask questions, and to try to do some decision making before you have what is called, or what is known as, the budget hearing. The budget hearing will take place on Wednesday, March 23rd. That's when student government will vote on and make its final recommendations regarding the student activity fee and the athletics fee. And we're going to talk about why those two go together specifically before the following week when the other three are decided on. Okay, we're going to talk about that. So this timeline is set. Your leadership has it. We talked about it back in October. And so things have been well known about this, but right now is the busy time for you. So we're going to get into this a little bit and talk about what this will mean for you. So, the process. Again, student fee funded areas and functional areas, they work internally to develop the budgets that come before you. The student activity fee funded areas are ones that present to SAC, the Student Allocations Committee. Student activities is one of those. Some others include the LGBT Center, the Veterans Resource Center, Multicultural Affairs receives programming money through that. The bus receives money through that.
John, can you enlarge that?
Huh?
Can you enlarge those for people?
I can't if I'm going to be able to flip between the tabs that I need to be able to flip between.
We can make it work.
Okay.
We don't want that out.
So those who are student activity fee funded are the only ones that present to the Student Allocations Committee. Okay? The other fee funded areas, technology, student union, athletics, and health, all present directly to this body. Okay? They don't present to the Student Allocations Committee. For the student activity fee funded areas, SAC will make its deliberations. I think they're meeting on Saturday, February 19th to go over that. That will be a very long day for them. They've taken up to 8-9 hours to talk about that before, but they will come up with a recommendation for student government to deliberate and approve. They will have put in, by that time, approximately 25 hours reviewing requests, hearing presentations, and coming up with their own recommendations. So they will have already done a lot of the vetting for you to try to make a reasonable recommendation and decision. From there, student government considers the recommendations and the fee requests. You will vote on your own recommendations, and that goes to Dr. Jones for a recommendation, and then President Inch ultimately signs off on all of it. Okay? You'll note that there's a bullet there that says that there may be a possible referendum vote on the student activity fee and the athletics fee. That is why those two budgets are considered by you on the same day, because it needs to be timely, so that if we have to have a vote on it before the entire student body, we have time to prepare for that. When might it go to a referendum? Who can tell me when it might go to a referendum? Yes?
When it's above 2%.
When it's above 2%. If student government recommends an increase that is greater than 2% for either the student activity fee or the athletics fee, it needs to go to a vote of the student body. And that will happen on the same day as your spring election for next year's leadership. Okay? So, those are the two that are very specifically tied to a 2% increase or a vote of the student body. As I mentioned, student government's recommendations then go to Dr. Jones, and President Inch will make the final sign-off. Once he signs off on it, it goes to the Mid-State Board of Trustees for final approval. They've never said no to a presidential recommendation, and so it's pretty much once he's okayed it, we're pretty much safe on going forward with it. Okay? So, any questions about that process so far? All said and done, typically all of the approvals are usually taken care of by mid-April, is when we typically hear back. Okay? Any questions about the process? Okay. So again, as I mentioned, the different fees that you're dealing with, the student activity fee is the one that takes the most time to consider. It involves a lot of money. The document that you have in front of you, the spreadsheet that shows the student activities breakdown at the bottom, this is the current student activity fee. This is what student government voted on and recommended and was approved, and it's the one that's currently in effect. Okay, so you can see all of the departments that are funded through the student activity fee and what they requested. So we are in fiscal year 22 right now. The budget that you're going to be looking at is for fiscal year 23. Okay, so you're going to get a list of what they have been allocated this year. You will also see what SAC recommends for them for next year. And then during the actual budget hearing, we're going to be filling in the blanks in terms of what student government recommends. Okay, so you can see that this year's student activity fee accounts for $2.722 million. Okay, that's how much you're looking at with just the student activity fee. During the budget hearing, Emmy will be working from a spreadsheet, and Mark will be sitting near her, and they'll be crunching numbers. And what we're looking for is you can see where the percentage of increase is calculated. We're watching that number throughout the entire budget hearing. This year they kept it minimal. Last year with COVID spending, COVID cut back on quite a bit of stuff, so there were some significant impacts there. But you'll see that we increased the overall student activity fee by 0.34% this year. It was kept minimal, but and we'll explain what a buy down means in a bit, but that was partially contributing to that. So this again is the student activity fee. It's recommended by SAC, it's approved by student government, and then by Dr. Jones and President Inch. And again, that 2% increase is how far student government can take it without a vote of the student body. Okay? And you may hear some conversation from leadership about where that increase may be looking this year, or some stuff that's may or may not be possible around that 2%. And so it's also board policy that the student fee is capped at $112.50 per semester. We're also having some very real conversations about how realistic that is, because we are right there, and there are questions about what may happen to that cap. We're very, very, very close to it, and so there may be some need to rethink that. So that conversation is happening right now as well. Okay. Another key thing is that this fee is one of those that is considered banded. You understand what banded means when it comes to tuition? Yeah. Okay. So you pay the same for 12 credit hours as you do for 18 credit hours, okay? Student fee is the same way, okay? So if you're taking 15 credit hours, you're getting charged at the 12 credit hour rate still, okay? So that's how most of these fees work, not all, but most, okay? Any questions about the student activity fee? Emmy's going to talk about the others, but the other sheet that you have in front of you is the overall fee, the student fee comparison. It shows what all of the fees did last year. And again, that is current for this year.
Unfortunately, we are out of our time limit, so can we have Amy do it next week?
Oh, I didn't know we had a time limit. Okay.
Yeah, for presentations, we're doing 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause there's no way this will be even addressed in another 10 minutes presentation. So.
Right. So I can definitely talk to you guys after the meeting and try to have this presentation. Yes, Senator Nowak?
Not sure if this is something that I could do, but motion to extend the time granted to John and Emmy for presentation.
Second.
Do I have a dissent? All right, you guys can go on.
Thank you. Okay. This is pretty timely here. So and it's a lot of stuff that impacts what you're doing. So I apologize for the lengthiness of this. Okay. So as I mentioned, the other sheet that you have is the overall year-to-year comparison on all the other student fees. So you can see what they did, what they were the year before. Some stayed the same, some increased. A couple of them might have actually decreased. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's not unheard of to see some people who are very fiscally responsible and things like that even come in and say, you know what, we're going to go in for a decrease. Okay, we've seen that happen before. So, but typically, as with costs increasing, we do see some fee increases. So, okay, I'm going to turn it over to Emmy to start going over some of the other fees that you're going to be looking at.
I was sneaking ahead and I didn't even realize it. All right, so the other fee that is subjected to a referendum is the athletics fee. So athletics does receive funding through other methods, but it's part of the student activity fee does go towards various expenses within athletics as a whole. I just realized I can't see these. I need to get my eyes checked. So what happens is the Athletics Advisory Committee actually athletics has an advisory committee of students and staff who meet and will put forth a recommendation, and then they will bring that directly to student government to present. As John mentioned, with the student activity fee, it's a 2% referendum. Athletics has the same referendum cap. So when it's reviewed by student government, you can also have the opportunity to revise that recommendation and then put that forward. If what student government recommends is higher than the 2%, at that time it would go to a vote. And if it is voted for to be approved, then it would go to Dr. Jones and then be approved by Dr. Inch. Similar to student activity fee, it's banded with tuition, and it is also capped. So there is an upper limit for what that is. I think we're good. One of the other fees is going to be student health services fee. So this partially covers operations and services provided. A lot of these funds are more for like outreach towards campus, providing kind of those health resources. Keeping in mind that the student health services also does have a clinic and other services that they provide that are not in that. As athletics has a committee, so does student health services. Similar process, they'll present, student government will be able to review, make revisions, and then make their recommendation. This is not subjected to a vote on the student body, but it does have a cap on it, and it is also assessed on a per credit hour basis. So this one is not, if they do come in over 2%, there's no impact on that to what students would be voting on. Student union fee, so that covers or helps to cover the operations and services in this beautiful building, the student union. So it's developed and proposed by student union staff in consultation with the student union board, which is the board of students who helps to make recommendations. And then it does go to review by student government. It has the opportunity to be revised, but there is no cap on this one, and it is not subjected to a vote of the student body. And the last fee is a technology fee. So this work is set up to help provide, oh man. This is set up to partially fund operations and services offered by IT Solutions, and also to help kind of alleviate some of those costs that would typically be put forward towards students. Similar to the other fees, it is reviewed by student government. It has the opportunity to be revised, and then it would be recommended. This is not subjected to a vote of the student body, but this one does have a cap on it. It's at $12 per credit, so banded it would be $144. All right, now we're going to change it up a little bit. So campus recreation does have an outdoor facility fee. So what this is it provides funding for outdoor fitness trails, fields, lighting, all of the things that we have outside to help support student recreation in the outdoors. This is not something that necessarily changes every year because it was something that was set up kind of like a loan is probably the best way to think about it, where that it's a consistent amount paid and it started being paid, so to speak, in fiscal year 2009, so a while ago. It will be continuing through fiscal year 2028. At that time, then the fee would need to be revisited because facilities do continue to have operational costs associated with them. But at this point, it's considered a part of the student fee package, but it's not something that's actually discussed or revised or voted upon. And then the other fee that kind of falls under that same umbrella is the bubble, or the seasonal sport and recreation facility. So this was actually passed, or funding for this was passed in fall 2018 and set at a flat rate, but it started being actually assessed in fall 2019. So it continues for 10 years, 83 cents per credit hour, and then it's not something that needs approval, but it is a part of the student fee package.
We've talked about the 2% cap, so just a reminder, the student activity fee and the athletics fee in particular are subject to a 2% increase cap unless approved by the students. Now, it was about 3 years ago, the last time that we had a vote on a referendum of the student activity fee increase, and it was in the ballpark of 4%. Student government backed it. I mean, we were at a point where really, without significantly affecting programming on campus, there was no way to avoid a greater than 2% increase. We'll see where things go this year, but there may need to be some similar conversations. So we'll see where that goes with your leadership as well. But again, 2%, that was passed about 6 years ago by the state legislature, that students themselves would have to have a vote on anything over 2% for those fees. The hearing itself, how is it going to work? So as I mentioned, the Student Allocations Committee is going to come before you and they're going to present their recommendations. They're going to have a PowerPoint, they're going to run through all of their recommendations, tell you what was requested, what was asked, and if there was any questions about what they recommend, they'll try to answer those. At the budget, once those recommendations are released, departments have the opportunity to say, yep, we're happy with that, we're fine with that recommendation, looks good to us. And they may do that whether they get everything they asked for, or even if, for example, somebody requested $10,000 and SAC recommended 9, and they look at that recommendation and they say, yeah, I'm okay with that. I can make a buy on 9, okay? So they have the option to say, yep, I'm okay with that. Or they have the option to come and appear before you during the budget hearing and appeal the recommendation of the SAC committee, okay? So at that budget hearing, they have about 3 minutes to present, to make their case for why they would ask you to amend the recommendation and increase it for them, and then you vote on the request or the recommendation, okay? Generally speaking, departments that are okay with the recommendation that SAC has made will not come to the hearing unless you ask them to be there, okay? And so, while it's not set in stone that you can't amend a recommendation that's not being appealed, the precedent is there that if you haven't invited them or asked them to be there to be questioned, and then if they're not appealing it, they may not show up. They may not see a need to. They may feel that it's safe. There are a lot of them that are not going to be controversial at all. And so they'll be like, okay, good to go. So keep that in mind, that if you are looking at a recommendation and considering amending it, or if you have very specific questions for a department that aren't answered in their application or their budget request, it's kind of, okay, you let it be, okay? And so it's kind of viewed that you wouldn't go after that unless you've given them a heads up, okay? So that's something that's just keeping in the back of your head. Whether or not a department is appealing, so say I've requested $15,000 for fraternity and sorority life, okay? Say they recommend that. I'm not planning on appealing it, obviously, and then say you still have questions, you can ask for any of those fee-funded departments to come before you if you have questions that can't be answered in their application. Okay? I keep saying that can't be answered in their application because what's critical for this hearing is that you're prepared. Okay? You're going to have to do a little bit of homework before the hearing. Those budget requests are going to be made available to you in the Teams folder that I was referencing. You're going to have electronic versions of it. You're going to be able to look at every single one of them and look at what they've requested, what it's for, and all of that. Okay? They're public documents. You'll have access to them. Let's see here. Like I said, you'll vote on every line, every recommendation. Last year there was a group of fee recommendations that were considered non-controversial, and so in order to save time, your executive leadership put forward a motion to approve about 13 of them all at once. Okay? There was just there was nothing controversial about it, and so they're like, rather than spend an hour to go through all of these, let's take care of it in about 3 minutes and just pass them all at once. And that was totally okay. It saved us a lot of time. We were very happy about that. So, any questions about that? Again, it's going to be critical to be prepared. And what we don't want is for during that budget hearing, you're asking them, so tell us what you do. They've answered that question in their request for you. Okay? Do your homework ahead of time, look at it, and be prepared.
Can I add something?
Yes.
So as you're looking at what staff recommends and you're looking at potential revisions, most things on the budget you can actually go in and adjust. However, there are a few things that are not subjected to that same ability. So, for example, full-time staff members whose positions are entirely funded by student activity fees, you're not able to cut their position entirely. So, like, if you were mad that John left to go on sabbatical, you're like, I don't want him coming back, I'm going to cut his position. You can't do that. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at those recommendations. And sometimes there are going to be certain elements that tie into that you're not able to adjust because those are considered like benefits, just like inflation costs that are associated with those. But for the most part, you can go in and change quite a few things if you're so inclined.
And on that note, while your intent can be to say, I don't want them to have that speaker come for that event, you can remove the funding for that speaker, but they may take that funding from somewhere else and still go ahead and do it. Okay, they have the ability within their budgets to move stuff around if they consider it mission critical enough to their department. Okay, so while your intent may be to remove funding for something, if they consider it critical enough, they'll move that funding from somewhere else. Okay, and make best decisions for funding their department. Okay. So, oftentimes you hear students talk about the university, they have this perception that we're a profit-driven machine and the departments are trying to make money. That's not the case in any of this. They're trying to provide services and programs that are beneficial to students. And so that's really what they're asking for. Nobody makes any money on this. Nobody makes profit. I mean, we can't. So that's something that is something to keep in mind when people are talking about this or when you're getting questioned by students. Athletics isn't asking for money to make a profit. They're asking to support a program that is vital to the university. If your question's a basic one, like I said, what do you spend your money on? What do you do? What's your mission? Look it up before asking the question because they've answered that question already for SAC and have provided that information to you. So. Also, if you have other questions that get really deep and off into the weeds, don't be afraid to go contact those people yourself ahead of time. Okay? If you've got great questions, we've had senators who've looked at it and they've made appointments to go visit with the director of theater and dance to ask questions about their budget request. Don't be afraid to do that. It shows that you're prepared, that you care, and that you're really invested in this, and they can explain things clearly, especially if they think that they might be able to have an advocate in somebody. So it's a big deal if somebody gets asked to attend these meetings, and so make sure that your questions are good and that they are going to be in fact impactful in decision making.
Can I add something?
Yes.
So the other thing is if a group or if an office is asked to come in and appeal, they get, I think it's 2 minutes without any sort of visual aid or anything like to assist them as they're presenting. So if you do have something that is really more of a detailed kind of in the weeds question, I'd go talk to those areas because they can do a much better job of explaining it there than they can if it's brought up at the actual hearing.
The SAC committee will have spent 15 to 25 hours on this already. They've been appointed to try to do the job, do part of the job and make it easier for you. We're going to be talking about to the student government leadership about their philosophy on fee increases and stuff this year, so that might help the SAC committee in making recommendations. But understand that they've done a lot of the research and spent hours and hours and hours looking at this, so don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel or start over from scratch on their recommendations. Sometimes there are some good questions, sometimes there are some things that they've really considered, and they'll try to explain that to you during the presentation, but advice is to trust some of the work that your peers have done. That's what they've been entrusted to do and appointed for, so don't be afraid to let that go to some degree. And lastly on this slide, sometimes it's very tempting to look at a budget and be like, why are they spending $300 on that? Okay? Need to remind you that 1 penny, to reduce the student activity fee by 1 penny, you need to find $2,956. Okay? So if you're questioning $300 in somebody's budget, that $300 ain't gonna make a difference in the student activity fee. Okay? So keep that in mind, that when you're quote unquote nickel and diming budgets, it will take you roughly $2,956 to make a penny impact on the student activity fee. That's because we look at a base, we project that there are going to be about 295,600 credit hours next academic year. Okay? Fee-paying credit hours. So as you're looking at budgets, like I said, keep in mind in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to reduce and keep the student activity fee lower, you gotta have $2,950 for a penny difference in that fee.
One
Okay.
of the things to note with that is as you're looking at the different lines, sometimes, apparently when I move this to keep it on, it turns off. When you're looking at the different lines that they have asked for funding in, sometimes what business services might code an expense as, it doesn't necessarily line up with what it actually is. So if I'll use our leadership retreat, for example, because sometimes it's considered student travel, sometimes it's considered student activity. One year we got put under something with like prizes. That was, went back and looked, that was really confusing. But just so you know, like when we put in our requests, look at what we're actually requesting the funds in, not what necessarily may have been in the past. We will do our best to be very clear about what we're actually asking funding for.
Again, keep in mind the big picture, keep in mind the overall impact on students and the fees and stuff like that. Like I said, there have been times where we've spent an hour talking about $300 or $400, okay? When that won't make a difference of a single penny in the fee. Okay, so keep in mind the big picture when you're looking at dollars and cents. And so as we get closer, we're not going to get too deep into this, but there are ways that we have been able to quote unquote buy down the fee before using some reserves, and we'll get it further into that. But this was already a lot of information. But the key is over the next 2 months, you're going to be looking at 5 big budgets and a lot of money. And so that's something to keep in mind, to be prepared for. Senator or Speaker Khan will give you access to this folder. You'll have access to all of these documents that we've shown you. There's a sample, like the budget request I made last fiscal year for fraternity and sorority life is in there, so that you will see what that request packet looks like. Okay, you'll be able to look at it and see what we complete. Mine is very simple compared to some, but the documentation is essentially the same. The spreadsheets that you have in front of you are in there. The timeline's in there. So you'll be able to see that. And there's also within that folder, I've sent to all of the budget directors their own folder. So Brian, for example, is going to be likely presenting for this the technology fee. There's a folder in there that I've asked him to upload their presentation and their supporting documents to. So you'll have access to all of that stuff as well to review on your own. So that is stuff that will be available to you over the next couple of months. So do some homework, be prepared, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And that's all, Carol.
So yeah.
Anything?
All right. Thank you, John and Amy. At this point, I would like to open the floor for questions, starting with Vice President Sorsel.
John and Emmy, is it a good idea to talk to other senators before the meeting if you have an idea about cutting or changing it significantly?
Absolutely. So the more prepared you can be ahead of the meeting, great. See what the consensus is, yeah, try to see what you can do and yeah, ahead of time.
All right. Do we have any Senator Flynn?
At the bottom of the student fee comparison per term, I think line 28. What does that mean?
Mid-safety guidance, 3% aggregate cap on fee.
Oh, so that was something where the guidance came out from the Min-State office. The Board of Trustees was requesting universities to keep a cumulative increase at 3% or less. And that was in line with the tuition increase they were expecting at the same time.
All right, thank you. Do we have any further questions? Any questions? Any questions over Zoom?
Thank you
No
for
further-
the extended time. Appreciate it.
No further questions. Thank you, John and Amy. Moving on to our next item on the agenda, which is open forum. Do I have Max?
Yes.
From Reporters. You have the floor.
Hi, everybody. I am Max from the Reporter. If we haven't met yet, that's what I do. That's why I'm here every week. First thing I wanted to talk about is just quickly asking for a $100,000 increase to my salary. That's it. Just kidding, obviously. What I was here to ask about actually is I'm just asking if there's anybody interested to function on the newspaper board. We're short on students, so I want the student perspective as much as possible on our board, which will be really important as we go into selecting the next editor-in-chief to replace me. So if you want your firm grasp on the student press, make sure to volunteer. That's one thing. Second thing, I'm looking to write a story on kind of a big thing that seemed like it just happened, and I wanted to ask for your help really quick. Basically what happened was like 181 students had their enrollment canceled because they didn't put $300 down. And I wanted to follow up on that because and a lot of them got their enrollment put back on, and that's a big struggle. If anybody knows any of these students that are willing to talk, please send them my way because I would love to have their perspective on that. So if that's something that anybody knows, I just wanted to kind of use you guys as a resource for that. So that's all I got. If there's any questions or anything like that.
Thank you. Do I have any questions for Max? Any questions? Any questions? No questions. Thank you, Max.
Thank you very much.
Do I have anyone else for open forum today?
Hold on, I think there's somebody on Zoom that has something.
If anyone on Zoom wants to say something, can you please raise your hand?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see, I had my hand raised.
Yeah, I wasn't able to see that, but thank you. You have the floor, Riley.
I guess I had a question for Max, quick. I wasn't sure, I hadn't heard this story yet, and so I was just wondering what that $300 was for, or just, I guess, a little more context in that.
Yeah, so it's for, I just started this story like today. I got it sent to me today somebody gave me the idea of it. But as I understand it, the $300 is you're supposed to pay by January 14th or something like one of those days. You had to pay $300 or 15% of your tuition to be enrolled. The confusion, I think, for a lot of the students was that if you looked at e-services, it said you needed your tuition was due by February 14th, but then they were getting emails saying something else, and so I think that's, if I'm understanding, because I full disclosure, I had the $300 email too, and so I understand the confusion with that situation, and I understand how a student may have been confused and not have followed through with paying $300. Luckily, I paid the $300 in time. That's why I'm here still. But I can see how that would have been confusing based on just seeing it looking differently on e-services versus the emails. So that's kind of how I understand the whole service or the whole drama that have been going through. And now a lot of them are back enrolled, and they're having difficulties with getting re-enrolled in the classes they were already in. So that's kind of what I'm hearing from somebody on faculty. So that's it.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, go ahead.
How did they pick who was paying the $300 right away?
I'm pretty sure it's based just on like if they paid their tuition right away. It's not just randomly out of the blue. Like Basically, it's like most people just pay their tuition from a loan or something like that right away out of the beginning of the year. The $300 was if maybe they don't have their loan situated yet, or they don't have their student aid yet, or financial aid. This is what I think is happening. Again, I just got this story today, so I'm pretty new into it. But
It's essentially like a down payment, if that helps to explain it.
yeah, it's essentially like a down payment, is what Emmy said. So.
Gotcha, thank you.
Senator Hawk?
Can I just add something to it, if
Yeah,
that's
go
okay?
ahead.
The $300, it's mostly like a registration fee that we have for our campus. So that's mostly for students, like if they're not gonna, most students do not pay the entire thing at once. So they pay the $300 at first and then enroll for classes, and they can still pay it till the end of the semester. That is there with like a $50 late fee that they assume, like after the February 14th, if you're late, you get a $50 fee as a late fee, and then you can pay it off. Mostly being an international student, I know about it, is that on our e-services, we will either have a green tick or a cross. The green tick is mostly for if it's like a third party paying it, like for example, in my case, my parents are going to be paying it from back home. So that is going to have a green tick, as that's going to be coming from third party, and the processing time is going to take longer. But the ones, most students, some of them pay themselves here. Like it's all done themselves, and they have like a cross saying that you will have to pay it off. Because sometimes in the past, what I have heard is that sometimes people don't really do it, and they get really far overdue. To not make that happen, they do it like that so that their tuition is going to be paid. At least you'll stay enrolled and having it, like, getting the registration done.
Okay, yeah, and thank you for clarifying, because I'm looking for as much context as well as the, from what I hear, there are a lot of students that are subsequently being re-enrolled, and that's also the issue for them. And I want to hear their story, and I want to publish that if that's something, or and how, that kind of thing. I think that's an interesting perspective.
Senator Flynn?
Have you spoken with Twyla Tinney in Student Financial Services?
What was the name?
Twyla Tinney. She handles accounts receivable.
I have not.
She retired in
Oh.
December.
That might be why.
wow.
No, like I said, I just got this today, and I just got this story today, and it kind of landed on my desk, and I wanted to. I feel like the most important part of the story is the students' experience through it, if they are one of those, and that's why I wanted to. I know that you guys all know as many students as anybody. The people that I know that know the most students. So I wanted to see if any of you know anybody that is going through that, then send them my way. I'd love to, if they're willing to, send them my way, and I'd love to get their experience on it. So.
Do I have any further questions? Let me take a quick look at Zoom again. All right, no further questions. Thank you, Max.
So where do we stand on the 100,000?
Do I have anyone else for open forum today? Anyone for open forum today? Anyone for open forum? All right, moving on to the approval of consent agenda. Do I have any dissent on the approval of consent agenda?
Motion, Speaker.
State that.
I move to amend the consent agenda to add Senator Carlson under University Branding Committee.
Do I have a second? All right. Do I have any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? All right, seeing as no dissent, the consent agenda is approved. All right, next I have officer reports, starting with President Stipp.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Senate. This week I have a few things for you, starting with in the fall, usually before we start fall semester, student government has a retreat, and that's basically just a time for senators to kind of bond and get to know each other and get to know the exec team as well. And so since we have had a little bit of turnover with senators and we have had some new senators here, we would like to do this again this semester just for our new people and to kind of give student government another chance to bond. And so our lovely PR coordinator will be helping us coordinate that, and there will be an event coming up soon. Hopefully we're looking to do something with maybe like the ropes course or just like some physical activity, and so that way we can all get together. Next, there will be another round of senator portraits coming up within the next month or two. We realized that in the fall, not all the senators that we have here were there, and so we're going to have another round of senator portraits coming up so that way you can have an official headshot. Next, we have some committees that need appointments if any of you are interested. First, the team from admissions, the Office of Admissions, is looking for students who maybe came here or transferred here, or they came to MNSU undecided. They are looking for success stories of students who came here undecided and then maybe found support through the university or campus community. So if you are interested in being one of those students that they do a story on, you can contact me and then I will forward your name to someone in admissions. Next, the election, of course, is coming up, and so I just wanted to point out that we do not have a lot of time between now and April for you all to decide if you're wanting to run. So first, if you are interested in being a senator or part of the exec team next year, you could talk to any of the three of us or you could talk to your other senators, but start thinking about if you're going to run in a party, if you're going to be an exec member, who the members of your party are going to be, and what position you're going to run in. Also, along with that, we still need people for the Elections Commission. So if you're not going to be a senator who runs next year or an exec member, please consider please consider to help run this next election. Aside from that, I just had a couple of expectations as we talk about budget season. We're talking about this one meeting at the end of the year where we kind of have to decide on what our recommendations for the budget will be. That's going to be a very, very long meeting. It's probably not going to be our typical 4 to 6. It probably will be more hours than that. It doesn't have to necessarily be that long, though. Again, if we do what John has recommended, which is come prepared and do our homework outside of Senate. I want to say use your committee time to really discuss some of the most controversial things that might come up. So just as for some expectations, please again do your homework beforehand. If someone has already asked a question, please don't ask the same question 5 different times in a different way. Let's yield to redundancy and make sure that we're just being as efficient as possible. As far as departments, if they ask for something and SAC has recommended to give them their full amount, I would say let's not fix what's not broken. Let's not try to give them an enormous amount over what they've already asked or anything like that. Because again, this is not just some imaginary money. This is real money that is going to be coming down the pipeline towards students. So we want to make sure that we are being responsible as representatives of the student body. Next, I just want to make sure that everyone knows we cannot tell departments how to spend their money. So if you are thinking, hey, I'll give you this extra $2,000 if you spend it this way, that is not something that is allowed. We cannot tell departments how to spend their funds. And lastly, please just be respectful. These people are coming. We have a lot of juice. We have a lot of influence with this budget. And so please be as respectful as possible during this process. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Do I have any questions from President Stiff? Any questions for President Stiff? Any questions over Zoom?
Mark,
right.
I think.
Mark.
That one meeting, we have the longer meeting. In the past, we've started an hour early at 3 o'clock rather than 4 o'clock. Is that still, I just want to make sure people know that.
Thank
Are
you
you
for
still
bringing
on
that
board
up.
with that?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Mark. In that case, usually during the final budget hearing or budget meeting for student government, instead of having a committee meeting at 3, we start the meeting at 3 so that way we can just get out of here sooner. And so that is what we will be moving forward with again this year.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any other questions? All right, moving on to Vice President Silversole.
Hi guys, I have a few things for you as well. So kind of building off of what President Stiff said about election planning, I wanted to clarify a couple things. So John has been leading the charge on creating a new voting booth, or working with IT Solutions to create a new voting booth software, so that's pretty cool. Our last one's super out of date, and so hopefully it'll be easier and clearer for people to vote this year. The next thing, I want to make a quick clarification about coordinators. You can't run for a coordinator position in the election, but typically the upcoming leadership, they look at applications and choose people. So if you're interested in a coordinator, get to know the newly elected exec team. That's the best way to do that. And then one thing that President Stiff mentioned quick about elections again is parties. And this was a really confusing concept for me when I first got involved with the elections and stuff because we're not partisan. But basically how it works is it's just like a long ticket or like a group of people who all have a similar vision and want to run together. And so they have weird names. It's like Empowering Mavericks or like the Maverick Movement or stuff like that. And so don't stress too much about that. Basically, if someone comes up to you and asks you to run with them, you might start a party, but you can also run independently. The only people who have to be connected is you run as a ticket for vice president and president. So you would have to come up with an established partnership there. But otherwise, typically, people are elected from both or however many parties there are. So that's my clarification there. The next thing is on Friday, we are doing a TikTok takeover, we've titled it. But basically, we're working with the scholarships people to make a bunch of TikToks advertising the scholarship season coming up. So if you guys know any good audios that are circulating, we for sure want to do like the ooh, tomato, tomato, tomato one. And, oh, perfect, okay. And a lot of the Elmo ones. But if you guys are on that app as much as I am, let's put that talent to use and send me and Joey or Senator Novak some audios. The last thing, we just had Hockey Day Minnesota. I hope you guys still have all of your fingers and toes, but were able to enjoy that. It was super cool if you guys got to go, especially I was there on Saturday for the men's game. It was pretty impressive how my hair was completely dry yet completely frozen by the time I left that, but you know, they call it Minnesota Hockey Day for a reason. So I hope you guys got to enjoy that and kind of enjoy the business that brought to our community. So yeah, that's everything.
Awesome. Do I have any questions for Vice President Silverso? Senator D. Schaefer?
Just a clarification for the party thing, like minus the vice president, is it like everyone then gets elected or you all don't get elected?
Oh, that's a great question. Nope, so it's still individual seat by seat.
Okay.
But sometimes like it'll be useful if they're like, vote Empowering Mavericks up and down the ballot, but you still vote individually.
Okay.
That's why you can win spots regardless of the party. But yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Senator Nowak?
This is another clarification based on the parties. There's another benefit to joining up with a party, which is that when you are running and campaigning, you're allotted a certain budget to campaign with. That didn't really get used all too much during the spring election, the fall election that we held. However, you are allotted a campaigning budget, and a benefit to joining up with a party is that you can all pool your campaigning budget to more effectively make use of it, since it's realistically not a whole lot for each individual person. And then,
yeah. So you will be finding out more about elections, but in order to do that, if you're not running, we really need you to join the Elections Commission so that we can get all of that secured and figured out.
Can we zoom in on Senator Flynn? Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So please do that. And then that made me think of one more thing. I just threw the concept of parties at you, and that's kind of intimidating, but so is the idea of a campaign budget, because I barely have a grocery budget. I don't have money to run like a large-scale campaign. Don't let that intimidate you. Me and President Stiff were thrifty, we'll put it that way. And
broke.
Well, yeah. So that shouldn't be a limiting factor, and you know, with technology, you usually don't have to spend that much. So keep that in mind.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions for Vice President Silverso? Senator Nowak?
howdy, it's me again. Completely different topic. This relates to the TikTok takeover. So we're doing that on Friday. We're doing it at the student government office at 4 p.m. Did we decide, or was it 3 p.m.? 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Join us there if you want to be in a heck ton of TikToks. It's going to be very fun.
All right, thank you, Senator Nowak. We're going to move on to our next officer report of the day, which is my report. Hello again. We are going to talk about office hours. Since we just started. Okay. Since we just started with the semester, I understand that a lot of the senators had a lot of difficulties trying to manage into classes, work, full-time student, part-time work, and then on top of that, you have student government. I completely understand that because I'm in the same boat with you. But I do need everyone to realize that office hours are 6 hours bi-weekly. I've had a lot of senators this time who were either not able to complete full 6 hours or were not able to do any hours, which I will understand for this time because you guys were having difficulties trying to start with the semester, so I understand that. And I'm always here because I've had senators reach out to me with the reasons for why they were not able to fulfill their full hours or what was the issues. So I just need you all to understand that if there is a problem, instead of waiting until the very last moment and passing the deadline, I would appreciate if you reach out to me and tell me what you're having difficulties with. I've had a few meetings with 2 or 3 senators so far, where after a meeting, the problem that you think is such a big deal is not that big of a deal, because I have been in your shoes, so I really know how to try to get out of that problem. So if you reach out to any 3 of us and tell us what's going on, we're obviously gonna try to help you. I don't wanna have you be under pressure that you need to do this and you were not able to do this and wait until the deadline and then not being able to complete your office hours or any other things. So for this time, I'm excusing people who either submitted less than 6 hours, were not able to submit any hours, or submitted hours late. But this is gonna be the last time for this semester. So before, we don't have any office hours due this week, but we do have office hours due next week. Before that, if there's any issues, any problems, anything you are confused about, new senators who don't really know what they're doing with their office hours, please, please, please reach out to me, email me, we can sit down, have coffee, talk about it, and fix it. But yeah, I just need you all to understand that 6 hours is mandatory to make sure that you are being involved, to make sure that the seat you hold, you know how important the seat is and how much power you have. So I just want to make sure that you can use that power and you can make a difference. That's why you're here. That's why you're sitting on this table. Next thing is sign-up sheet for senator reports. I do have 2 senator reports for today, but the sign-up sheet, the sign-up thing was kind of a little messy last semester. So I am going to be looking into a new format for senator reports, and I will be uploading that sign-up sheet instead of having it like pass throughout the table. I'm gonna do this, that I'm gonna do it online and then send everyone a link, upload that on Teams, and then you're all gonna go and sign up for those. What I'm gonna try to do is make the sign-up sheet according to the dates, and then every date can have like 2 senators. If at the end of it, we do have more senator reports, we will go back and add more. But what my goal is, per meeting, we can have 2 senator reports so that we're not going over our time limit. I will upload that once I'm done with it on Teams. If anybody wants to help me creating that sign-up sheet, that will count as your office hours. So let me know. Next is, to add to that portrait photo shoot, we reached out to Lenny, who's going to be helping us with the photo shoot, and he said that he has an availability next week. What we're trying to do is have it during the time when most of the senators are going to be available. So what we're thinking is to do it maybe around 3:30 p.m. right before the Senate meeting. And we're going to request the committee chair to maybe release you guys half hour before so that we can have those portraits taken. For right now, the best time that works for our photographer is next week at 3:30 p.m. So that's what we're going to be discussing. But if any of you have an issue with that time, reach out to me. Let me know that if you can't make it, because we're doing this for you. We want to make sure that you're there and have your portraits taken. And then finally, I just wanted to add that if you guys spend time finding those TikTok audios and come up with the really nice ones for our Friday one, I will count that as your office hours. So. I will not count as 20 hours. I'll give you half hour for that. But that is it from my side. Do we have any questions? Senator Darlington?
What is the purpose of the photo shoot, you said?
To update your portraits on the roster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it gives you a good portrait that you can use anywhere.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Any questions over Zoom? Let me see if I do have any hand raises.
John has one.
For
John?
the photo shoot, is it not true that it would be good to be dressed up for this? I mean, these are like professional headshots that
Right.
you guys will have for be able to use for LinkedIn or whatever you wanted to, so.
Right, thank you, John. So yes, for the last photo shoot, we were all dressed business casual. So dress up nicely in whatever dress you want to be getting taken photos, because that's going to go on roster, and then we'll have a nice portrait to use. All right, I don't see any hand raises on Zoom. I don't think there's any further questions, so I'm going to move on to the last thing, which is Dean of the Day. I have Dean Budge from CSET for Dean of the Day today, and he is joining us through Zoom. So Dean Budge, would you like to talk to the Senate?
I'm happy to be here. Happy to have listened to the discussion that you've had. Certainly some big responsibilities and opportunities relating to budgets and other things moving forward. So thank you for letting me listen in. If there are anything specific that you'd like to have me share with our Council of Deans, please feel free to pass that along. We did have a visit last week from our student leadership relative to the mental health support for the students campus-wide, so open to that conversation ongoing. But I appreciate again the chance to be here. I know Annie Allman is intimately part of this meeting on a weekly basis, so we appreciate her ongoing involvement. Please reach out to any of us if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts as to what we can be doing to support your efforts on behalf of the students. We appreciate your willingness to serve in the capacities that you do and the time that you devote to them. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, Dean Budge. Do I have any questions for the Dean? Any questions? Any questions? All right, thank you for joining us today, Dean Budge. Moving on to our next business item, I have Senator reports, and for my very first Senator report, I have Senator Darlington.
Yep.
You can come to the floor and I can explain how this is going to go. The podium, yes. So Senator Darlington, how this is going to go is you have 3 to 5 minutes for your report. After your report, senators will have an opportunity to ask you questions.
Sounds good.
Awesome, you can get started.
All right, hi everyone. So I know it was like 2 weeks ago when I came, I presented to you guys. Pretty much very new on campus, so I guess I have a lot to learn. And during my presentation, I remember one of the questions was, what is the problem that you have observed on campus? So I really used that question as a way of getting out there, reaching out to students to really understand what's going on. And I'm very glad I was able to gather some inputs from students about things that they are concerned about. So one of the issues that students are really faced with on campus, first of all, the report is going to be like stuff that I'm trying to work on, like projects, my own personal projects based on my engagement with students last week and over the past. And if any of you are interested in working with me on it, I'll be very glad to work with you. So one of it is like social security number. There's really a lot of doubts. Students don't really know how getting the social security number works, especially for international students who come to the college, like in the first year. I had opportunity to meet with a bunch of international students who were really confused about how to get a social security number. some of them were saying, hey, we need to get on-campus job first before we get a Social Security. And some of them were saying, no, we don't need a campus job, we can apply for it. Other people were saying, hey, I have to go to the Social Security office myself to obtain my Social Security number. So I feel like students having all of these doubts and uncertainties about how to get a very crucial document is very important. And I really want to work with the International Student Center to see how best they can provide the clarity and better information so the student can use it to obtain their Social Security number. And the next thing is health insurance. So most international students, they are really obligated to take health insurance from the college. They have that as a mandate. It's mandatory. You don't have the option. Even if you have your own private health insurance, you have to cancel that in order to take the school health insurance. This is a problem for most students, including myself. When I was transferring here to this college, I had my own insurance, like a whole 1 year insurance flat down paid for. And then unfortunately, they told me that it was not going to work. I needed to cancel that and take the school insurance, which cost a whole lot. And that was a burden for me. I had to unfortunately cancel my insurance. They didn't refund my money, and then I have to take the school insurance. So I'm just using my scenario, my situation, but it affects a lot of students who don't really have the financial resources to get the health insurance from the school. So my idea is to really work with the school and to see, if possible, how best they can give students the options to use private insurance, if that's okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the dining center. So if all of you have been to the dining center to eat, you will observe that they don't have like napkin on the tables, and they have like a station. You have to leave your seat to go and look for a napkin to wipe your hands, and that is just stressful. And I know it's a really small project, but I really want to work with dining services to see how best they can provide napkin on each of the tables, so that students don't have to go standing in queue in lines to go and get napkin from stations. That is really a simple thing, and I believe I can do that too. The last thing I want to talk about is the athletic team. I understand that there's a whole lot of like policies about that, but some international students really have concerns that their favorite sports or things that they really know how to do is not included in the athletic programs, such as male soccer team. So there was like guys of international students who we went to the gym, and I was just asking about their inputs about stuff, and one of them just told me that, oh, I'm concerned because they don't have a male soccer team on campus. They only have the female soccer team, and that's the only thing I know how to do. Football is the most famous sport in the U.S. I can't play football, so I can't join the football team. But when I was in high school, I got a scholarship when I was playing for my school soccer team. So I felt when I come to college, I was going to continue playing soccer to really enhance my skills and to be able to get maybe a scholarship to go to school. But unfortunately, the university does not provide such opportunity for me. So I'm just in the gym. That's what he told me. And I think it's a really important issue that maybe I can work with the athletic department to see if they can provide more information on why they don't have male soccer team. And yeah, if any of you are interested in any of these projects, please reach out to me. I'll be very happy so that we can work together, because like I said, I'm very new. I don't know most of the people to even start with. So I believe I can use you guys as a resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Darlington. We will start with the questions now, starting with Senator Nowak.
Howdy. So I want to specifically first talk on what you talked about with the international students insurance problem, because that was a problem that also got noticed by former Senator AJ Amdembi, who used to serve as a graduate senator. And I think that that would be a very useful person to reach out to get kind of like some information on where that project ended up, and like if any groundwork had been laid there, if you wanted to try to revitalize that or like look into what happened there. And I think that we could definitely get that contact to you. But and then also with the dining services plan, I remember when you first came in, you also mentioned an issue about them wasting food. And that was something that I took particular interest in, and I would be totally down to work on that with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that is another project that I'm working on. And if you want to work with me, that would be great. We can work together on that project too. Thank you.
President Stiff?
I would just like to say I'm really happy you're a part of our team, and I'm really excited to see what you're going to do this term. You sound like you have a lot of great project ideas, and so to our existing senators who have been here, please reach out and see if you can help Senator Darlington with these.
Thank you.
Senator Bassett?
I really appreciate the fact that you being so effective and then taking out this minor and major problems of international students to the table. And then I was just writing that health insurance problem there, and then I was also wanted to work on this problem this semester, and I really want to work with you. I just really appreciate you, whatever you are doing for the international students. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Senator Wing?
So I've actually had a number of constituents reach out about the lack of a men's soccer team. So I would really like to work with you on that project, because that is definitely an issue that has been brought up numerous times in the last few months.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. I just would like to add to that. This was a great way for collaboration, and we see so many senators being involved and interested in the projects. You guys are all connected on various platforms. GroupMe is one of them. If you have projects that are even just ideas, go ahead and share those on GroupMe, and that way you can have other senators who can help you, collaborate with you, or even tell you where to start. So thank you, Senator Darlington, for your report today.
He does a great job.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't have my yellow thing. So, this might be a little bit out of the scope of asking, but you said you ate at the dining hall. Do you work there, or do you live on campus, or?
I live off campus, but I also work at the dining hall.
Okay. You live on campus?
Off campus.
Off campus, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious, because not a lot of people will subject themselves to the dining hall very much.
Right.
Not. It's just, they got to keep the costs low. That's how you do it. And I think that the napkin thing actually came from when they moved from Karkowski Commons into their current building as part of their, green thing. Because then it encourages people to use less napkins because they have to think about it, go and get it, and then use it and sit down. But dining hall stuff, I'd be willing to work with you on that. I might have a little bit of.
Thank you so much.
I
appreciate it.
Thank you. So I don't see any hand raisers on Zoom, but if we had, yeah, that's what I mean. So Senator Josefa, did you have a question?
More of a comment. I was also thinking about that international student insurance, and I also had some research done on that, and I would definitely love to work on that with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next I have Senator Paruchuri.
Yeah. Hi, Senator Darlington. I just wanted to make a comment about one of the things. So you said that a lot of students have the problem with SSN and knowing how to get the SSN and stuff. So today, actually, they had a meeting, the CDC and Kenny Center. There was a meeting which people could have attended, in which they did talk about SSN, and they did explain how you can apply for the work permit and all these things. So basically, the new students, if they check the emails and attend these meetings, it would be helpful for them. But if you do want to make things more easier and also help the new students, I would love to work with you on this, because in the starting, I did find it a bit difficult to apply for the SSN, but of course, the place where I got the work, they helped me with it, and I was able to get my SSN and stuff. And yeah. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next I have Senator Roberts.
Yeah, I can connect you, more of a comment. I can connect you with former Senator Abby. I know them, and I can get you connected so you can share that information.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. One comment for ID Solutions, I'm unable to see any of the hand raises, so if there's any more hand raises, can you guys let me know? And for the further hand raises, since I'm unable to see anything, just send me a quick message or put something in the chat and I will call on you. Other than that, do we have any further questions? Any last questions? Senator Hopwood.
I think I'm just like suggesting something to add with like the dining center. I never really had a problem with napkins because usually when I get my food, I grab a napkin. I think it's just programmed. But I always have a problem that I'm hunting down somebody to wash the table. And I wish we had like stations, essentially like how the gym, like you spray off everything and then you put your dirty towel, or just like buckets where we could like at least spray the table off ourselves, because then I'm like looking for someone to be like, hey, can you like wash the table? And then sometimes I feel bad because like there's somewhere else washing a table. So like maybe if there was like stations like just where tables are in like different areas of the dining center, so that like if we don't see somebody that we can wash the table off, because the tables can be dirty and then like they're not getting washed fast enough during like when people sit and leave.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can work on that too.
All right, thank you.
Can I make a comment for
Senator
Hopwood, if that's okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
I work at the dining center myself. You'll see carts over there, yellow carts in different rooms over there, which is, they say they're self-disinfecting carts. There's like a small plastic thing on it which says it, so if anybody wants it, they can definitely go and do it themselves as well.
It's in the room with the projector.
Yeah.
The back room of the dining hall?
Uh-huh.
It's in there. Usually.
Oh, even in the bigger one in the center.
That's probably why I don't see it. Okay.
All right, thank you. I don't see any further questions unless there's anything on Zoom. You can put something in the chat, but no. Okay. All right. Thank you, Senator Darlington. Next, I have Senator Hawk.
Hi everybody, I think everybody knows that I was working on the feminine hygiene product project that was there on campus. I had a few senators here, if I have to say, Senator Nowak, Senator Bassnett, and Senator Hopwood was working on it, that's with me. We have been able to work it through with the university of having free feminine hygiene products. One update on that is that the dining center still doesn't have it because they have their own separate building, and that is something that's their own, so I would have to have a meeting with them. That's how I found about this because I had a meeting with Erin, who's the GA of the Women's Center 2 days ago when I was sitting down with her, and she was telling me that most of the buildings right now do have like free feminine hygiene products in the bathrooms that's there throughout campus, so that was a big initiative taken by student government. But for the dining center, that's not yet possible because I will have to go into a meeting with the dining center staff over there and have it done because they have their own building and they never had even a slot over there to have it. So I'm planning on going up to them and making sure that at least even if it's not having an entire cabinet for it, at least having something there, the sinks or something, so that that'd be able to do, because it's already being done all around campus for free. That was just an update that this was something that we did.
Thank you. Vice President Silverso?
I was just wondering, who changes them out?
Oh, the GMWs do.
Oh, cool.
Sorry about that.
Do we have any questions? Any questions? Any questions over Zoom? All right, I don't see any questions. Another great example of senators collaborating and making a project happen. So congratulations to everyone who was involved in this project. All right, moving on to our next business item, which is vacancies. Like always, I will announce the vacancies we have, and then we will move forward with our candidates today. First of all, we have an off-campus senator position available, another off-campus senator position available, and another. So 3 off-campus senator positions available. Then we have College of Allied Health and Nursing senator, College of Arts and Humanities, College of Education, graduate studies, and residential life senator position available. We have 2 candidates with us today. Our first candidate is Annabelle, and she is joining us over Zoom. Do we have Annabelle on Zoom with us today?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello, Annabelle. So I'm gonna just tell you a little bit how this is gonna go. First of all, you're gonna have 2 minutes of opening statement where you can tell the Senate why you applied for the position, what you're looking forward to, your projects and your experiences. Then I will open the floor for questions where senators can ask you questions. And then you will have 1 minute of closing statement where you can tell the Senate why they should all vote for you. After that closing statement, I am gonna have to put you in a waiting room and we will open the floor for discussions. And then Senate will vote for you and then we will request you to come back to the main Zoom room and then we will announce the results. I just have one request for ID Solutions. Since you guys are the host, I think you guys, can you make a wait room for our candidate? And then I will let you know when I'm ready for her to go to the waiting room. All right, Annabelle, we can start with you. I will start the time here and you can get started with your 2-minute opening statement.
Okay, hi, my name is Annabelle Einstein. I am a transfer student from University of Northern Iowa studying dental hygiene. I am doing school online this semester with all my classes being virtual, so I will be from home. At my last school, I was an at-large senator in student government. I was director of finance of the Feminist Club, a liaison for creating new liberal arts curriculum for the new upcoming class. Vice president of the Mental Health Club, and on the board of executives for the National Honor Society, Pi Eta Sigma. In student government, I helped make STD testing free on campus, working with the Black Hawk County Health Center coming on campus. And I also was able to get free menstrual products distributed around campus in the women's bathrooms. And also getting more menstrual products and hygiene things in it was called the Panther Pantry, which was the food pantry on campus if students needed. This is my first semester this spring and I am doing it from home, I don't know a lot of what's going on campus, but with the right outreach to you guys and through these meetings, I will definitely be able to help you guys think of some stuff and work with you guys to make projects happen. I love being on student government and I just would love the chance to be able to be on it again.
All right, thank you. At this point, I will open the floor for discussion, questions. Do we have any questions for our candidate today? Vice President Saverso?
Hi, Annabelle. My question, I'm interested in that you're a transfer student and the schools or the college is focused on kind of revamping that process to make it more efficient. Would that be something that you would be interested in like sharing your expertise with?
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Do we have any further questions for our candidate today? Senator Roberts.
Do you intend to head on campus at any point to meet with constituents at all?
If you would like me to, I live 3 hours away, so it will take me a little bit, so I won't be able to be there. But I can still come during the day sometimes if that's needed. I mean, I wouldn't be there like every day during the week, but sometimes if needed, I would be.
Thank you. President Stiff.
Just to clarify, Annabelle, we also require office hours, but you can do those via Zoom if that's a possibility for you.
I have time during Zoom, yeah.
The next question is like the student government specialties, but what is your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
My greatest strength is my resilience or my empathy that helps me to connect with people and also be persistent with challenges I face. And my greatest weakness is probably I get very detailed in things, so I take a little bit of time to do things, and I've gotten a lot better and more efficient with things I do while still being able to be detail-oriented, just maybe not so nitpicky.
Thank you. Do I have any other questions? Any questions over Zoom? Any last questions for our candidate? Senator Bassett?
Okay, I just want to question you. I don't know, should I? Yeah. Okay. Because he's not here. Okay, if you got elected, then what is the one thing you will do via Zoom to just maintain your position, like to work as a leader?
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear that. Could you say it one more time?
Yeah, sure. What is the one thing that you can keep in mind, while working as a leader of a student government? I mean, as a leader of a student.
One thing I could combine? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, just mention one significant thing, that you will keep in mind or that you will apply while working or serving as a senator.
Oh, what I will keep in mind?
Senator Bassan, can I rephrase your question?
Sure.
Real quick. Annabelle, what we're trying to ask is, since if you get elected as a leader and a senator of student government, what's the one thing you would like to do while you will be over Zoom? So what is something that you are looking forward to, or one of the projects that you would like to be, you're very passionate about?
I'm very passionate about LGBT and women's issues, but I don't know exactly what's going on campus as this is my first semester and I am doing it virtually. I don't know if you guys have STD testing that's affordable. That was a big thing at my last university that I was able to help overcome. So I'd definitely be willing to work with that or the transfer students thing. But I still am not sure what's going on in campus, so it's hard to make initiatives without knowing what's going on to be proactive about.
Thank you. Senator Uzefa?
Sorry, I think it's from the last time.
Okay. Senator Carlson?
Hi, thanks so much for stopping in on Zoom. I guess my question for you is just I'm concerned with you being, because as a student senator, obviously you're representing students here, and without actually physically being here and being a new student, how are you going to tackle, I guess, meeting your constituents and figuring out what they want and what they want you to do?
I was due to COVID at my other school, I did student government. I was from school as home as well, and I was able to be a senator and do all my clubs and meet with everybody virtually. I didn't have a problem with joining a bunch of different clubs and being able to meet new people and reach out. I do see how it's hard for people to, I guess, meet me. I can come to campus occasionally, but I would have my office hours that would be available, and I am active in other clubs, or I've been starting to join others to try and meet some new people to just get my name out there, I guess. But I was able to successfully meet all my duties as a senator before, so hopefully I can do that again.
Thank you. Do I have any last questions for our candidate? Any questions over Zoom? All right. Seeing as no further questions, we're going to move forward with your closing statement. If I can get my things to start working. All right. So you will have 1 minute of closing statement. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right.
I will bring everything I have into this. I'm very passionate about student government and very passionate about a lot of the issues that we face. And you guys have been doing great stuff just from what I heard today, and I would love to be a part of that. I am open to suggestions and helping with any projects, even if I don't have some ideas currently. I will definitely work with you guys to make stuff happen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Can I okay, yeah. And then I believe ID Solutions is going to put our candidate in a waiting room.
Shadow room. The shadow room.
So we're just gonna give them a minute. All right. Okay. So at this Congratulations, Annabelle. We have had an election. So now I would like to swear you in. So Annabelle, if you can raise your hand and repeat after me. Annabelle? Mm-hmm. All right. I state your name.
I, Annabelle Einstein,
will represent and serve the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato.
The students of Minnesota State, Mankato.
In student life. And academic needs. And will uphold the mission. Constitution. And bylaws. Of student government. I so affirm. All right. Congratulations, Annabelle. And if I can get all my papers in the right term, we are going to move on to our next candidate. Do I have Muhammad Ashkar Raja with me on Zoom? Last call for our candidate Muhammad Ashkar Raja, who was supposed to join us over Zoom. All right, I don't see him. Moving on to our next business item, which is new business. I do not have any new business for today. Moving on to old business. I do not have any old business for today. Moving on to announcements. Starting with President Stiff.
So before our big budget hearing, I'd like to see a full Senate, y'all. So with that, I think we should start a competition and to see who can bring the most or recommend the most people for candidacy or vacancy elections. So I think with our election today, that brings us down to 6 or 7. And so if we can get a full Senate, I will commit to bringing some type of food. I don't know what type of food, but we'll bring some type of food.
We have McDonald's gift cards.
We still have McDonald's gift cards. So let's see.
Wow.
Whoever recommends the most candidates will get one of those, and then I'll also bring food. So I want to see a full Senate before budget season, especially because empty seats mean there are some constituencies who aren't represented. And yeah, let's get that done.
Awesome. Senator Hopwood?
So if we bring somebody in, does that count as office hours or recruiting?
If you are
like 30 minutes, you know.
I'll find you people if that's the case.
If you're bringing 2 senators in, I will count that as 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then while we're on the topic, and I'm not going to give you office hours for just like scrolling on TikTok. So if you come up with 2 audios that are good enough for a TikTok, that will count as your 30 minutes of office hours. Do I have any further announcements?
No, I have to.
Max. I got you.
You don't have to go first?
No, you're
okay. Quickies. This one's a quick and easy one. I just wanted to brag about my staff really quick. Tomorrow we're going to the Minnesota Newspaper Association banquet to accept 12 awards.
Wow. Oh my God.
Just a little context. In the last time we went, I think we got 4 awards. So for last year we won 12 awards. Thank you.
Senator Darlington.
Do you have to accept the TikTok video before it counts as all the hours?
No, if you give Senator Novak 2 audios that he thinks that we can use for our TikTok takeover, I will count that.
Okay.
Awesome.
So do we have to come in person to do it as well?
You don't have to, but if you want to be a part of those TikToks, and if you do come for, I think we have it for an hour.
Yeah.
That will count as your office hours.
Perfect.
So you can come have fun and get your office hours. Do I have any further announcements? Senator Wing.
So I am actually starting this new semester off with a couple of new projects. I'm still looking to get connected with some of the folks involved with these. But the main one that I'm looking into right now, based on my background, is the Lincoln statue debate that's been going on the last couple of years. Just going to see if we can reach a compromise and come up to a resolution so that way we can put some of that to bed. I'm also looking at updating our parking situation a little bit, as all parking except for lot number 4, the visitor pay lot, is unenforced after, I want to say it was 6:30 p.m. campus-wide. That's all gold lots and Flowbird parking as well, so I'm working on a resolution for that. I've already met with Mr. Cowan. I actually talked to him after last week's meeting, and was just going to see if there's any way that we can make it so that is unenforced as well, to kind of help out some of our students who've been getting ticketed, including some alumni that I've met with, and then also our congressman who got ticketed last year as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Senator Flynn?
Elections Commission, please help.
Please.
I don't need much in the way of like work done. I need people to double check things, because otherwise it's just going to be me saying these are the rules. Yeah.
All right. John.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good to see you all again, as always. This is my last meeting. I'm leaving the country on Sunday, so Emmy will be your go-to, but don't be afraid to look to others around campus for help as well. Emmy's a great resource. She's very well connected and all of that. So you have a very, very busy semester coming up. The remainder of the semester will go very fast, and if history tells us anything, April any year is crazy. But a year like this, when we're still in the middle of a pandemic and trying to work through an election with a single election commissioner right now, and an advisor who's new to this organization, it'll be a busy semester for you. So be ready, ask questions, help each other out. Communicate clearly and all that good stuff. So, as Patrick mentioned, we met yesterday to talk election stuff, and so he's got a lot of stuff. It was kind of overwhelming almost to go through everything, but because we're just a little behind on the election planning, and so there's a lot to do. So please step up if you're able to. But I wish you the best and all of that, and you'll be in great hands with Emmy and with the other support folks in place. So have a great semester and a great end of the year.
Thank you, John. I'm going to say this on behalf of the whole Senate. We will miss you. Senator Carlson.
I just wanted to see if anyone else was interested in this as well. I am starting a new project specifically for the College of Business, but if you would like to pertain it to your college as well, of possibly getting student advisors. I know a lot of us, probably I myself included, have a really hard time getting in contact with our advisors in general sometimes. So having that student advisor that you're assigned to, who would be a junior or senior in your major, that could also help you pick classes and the best route to go. So if you would be interested in that, please let me know.
All right, thank you. Unless I have any last announcement, Amy.
Thank you. So just to kind of follow up on what John said, as we transition, well, as he leaves us, please be like, I would highly encourage you to stop by and chat. Even though I am new with this group, I do have a lot of related experience, and I'm super excited about this opportunity. I also wanted to point out that with the, speaking of election type things, please join the commission if you're not running. But also, next Tuesday after 6 p.m., just so your groups, like RSOs that you might be affiliated with know, or any groups that meet, is a caucus night. So that's when your local political organizations gather and discuss to like who they want to represent them and kind of what their priorities are for the upcoming election cycle. So participate in civic engagement, it's great. But also know that if you work with groups who are trying to reserve spaces, especially on campus after 6 p.m., there is a policy that says they cannot do so. So the other two things I wanted to note, next week I will be joining you, but I will be via Zoom. I will be in transit to an extra or something unusual that I get to go do. But yeah, if there is anything that I can do to help kind of make the transition a little more smooth, please let me know.
And I also realized I should probably tell you I make a lot of jokes and I don't do super serious. So if I say something and you're not sure if you should laugh, please humor me. I realized that when I was standing up here and I made a joke about firing John. So we love him. We're going to be sad for him to go, but we'll look forward to him coming back. So cool. Thanks, y'all. I thought you were serious, Amy. All right, Senator Wing.
Yep, so this is just very quickly piggybacking off of what Emmy said about caucus next week. That is based off of where you are registered to vote. So you do not necessarily, like for myself, for example, I'm going to be going back to Rochester for caucus on next Tuesday. But wherever you're registered to vote, if that is here in Mankato, you are welcome to participate. So go ahead, please be a part of our civic culture and kind of make your voice heard. So.
All right, thank you. So I have one last announcement because I don't see any other. For the senators who come here in person, please bring your placards with you because I can always see if you have discussion points. How you do it is you put it like that, and then you don't have to you can put it like that, and then you don't have to keep waving at me because that means that I got you. And it's just very formal and professional. So please do that. Senator Darlington, we will get you one. And at this point, our next order of business is roll call. Waiting for you.
Motion to waive roll call.
Second. Do I have a second? Awesome. Do I have a dissent? All right, the roll call is waived. I adjourn this meeting. Guys, bear with me. I adjourn this meeting at 5:57 p.m.
Congratulations, Annabelle.
Congratulations. Here with us.